to say about that.
Yeah.
Now, out of experience, throughout my life working with in and with the corporate sector,
Yeah.
I have always noticed that corporations, multinational corporations or companies with a lot of branches, they are frantic about their branding. So up until this day, whenever we have something that we need to co-brand, it's a long-winded process of approvals, and it's like a nightmare.
Yeah.
When this process is centralized, if this process is going to be centralized at EFE Global, it has its pros and its cons. The pros are obvious. We will all look the same and feel the same, and however, the cons are there is never a cutting-edge solution for all the case scenarios. So, for example, at EFE Egypt, we do a lot of infographics. And you know, with infographics, you need plenty of flexibility. So, does this entail for us getting approval from global every time we create something new? Because we create something new all the time, and we're always tight on time. So if this is going to be limiting in this way, I suggest we all agree on the same folders, logo, letterhead, website, and that's it. The rest, you use these colors, you use these fonts, and those variations, and you're free to design.
Normally every company should have what we call visual identity guidelines, which you have already. You know, there is a visual identity.
Yeah, but they don't cover all scenarios.
They don't cover all scenarios. They don't cover. I think my recommendation would be is for global to have guidelines for a common branding across. Remember, this costs a lot of money. This is probably where
we have it already.
What?
We have common branding guidelines, we just don't use it.
Ah, okay, because I've not seen that.
Would I ask because this goes to processes and systems? Why don't we use it?
I have, honestly, I don't know. I came into the organization and things were looking different everywhere, and like Linda saying, some people use a bar line, some people use a comma, some people have a different logo, but within those guidelines, each affiliate has a logo. I saw them. Remember Salt? They did design a different logo for each affiliate.
But this is the question. Do we need a different logo for each affiliate?
Yes.
Do we need a different look and feel?
Yeah. It's not a different look and feel. It just says Palestine, it says Egypt, it says Jordan, Tunisia.
Sorry, Talib, you had a comment?
No, it's not a different logo. It's actually the same logo. It's just a different name.
Different naming convention. Different, we started with the website.
No, it's a different logo because your logo is square. Our logo is not square. It does not consume the same, so it feels different. We have mosque and they have
For example, EFE Morocco, and I'm not no personal things here. EFE Morocco, okay? التربية من أجل التشغيل, which is.
Let's not start with the translation. They translate it differently in different countries.
No, but this is part of this is very important. When we say التعليم من أجل التوظيف, it's different than التربية من أجل التشغيل. You know, it's totally different. So here the question I think is, and Maria, please feel free to jump in. You know, what do you think? What do you think we need to? If it were up to me, I would standardize. If me, as you ask me as a consultant, I would say let's standardize one website, one company website, global website with country-specific information. Less maintenance, less headaches, more standard, you know, and of course, Arab Tunisia can have it in French, you know, you can add the Arabic, that's no issue. But now, if you go, for example, I went on the websites. I go on one website, one of them has a link to global, others don't have a link to global. Some of them, they have the different tabs. Some of them, for example, they list their employees, their staff, some others, they don't list their employees, their staff. So, just looking at all of this and we're going to provide you more recommendations, of course, on all the marketing aspects. This is part of what we are doing as well. But let's hear some thoughts from you.
Part of it is also a function that most of our affiliates don't have dedicated communications people on the websites that get updated regularly. So that's kind of also a capacity question.
Look, I can just give you a historical perspective. I looked at these and I was like, wow, these are all the same. This is great. I mean, you should have seen where we were 5 years ago.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just the fact, to your comments, Ismail, that we're using basically the same logo, the same colors. I mean, it's a great place to start. Now, I think it is a discussion. I mean, here's where we get at our fundamental organizational model. We are not a company with branch offices where we just standardize and mandate, these are the guidelines, use them. That's by design, and we don't do that. So we're always balancing having common brand, common elements, but allowing for local adaptation. So this is a question to this group, and we can think about taking it up at the network and learning meeting, because this might be something we want to engage the broader leadership on. I am hearing more and more from various folks, from board chairs, from CEOs, that there's a push actually to more centralization of certain functions, standardization of certain functions, from financial guidelines to websites and marketing. Now, that is a strategic choice we have to take as a network, that we want to go in that direction, and then we have to decide how we can deliver on it. But I guess I'm very curious to hear people's perspective on that, and sort of give us some of your thoughts about where you would draw the lines in terms of if global could do X, Y, and Z, but give us the flexibility.
Well, as long as we don't create bottlenecks for standardization.
Can I ask you to define what standardization means to you?
Like, let's say we're going to a meeting right now, each with a folder and each with a business card. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? If it's a good thing,
No,
then we don't need to have this conversation.
I don't understand why we are above, below.
It could be a good thing.
May I ask, who likes this?
Egypt and Morocco, they are below.
So if we go to if I come to your office, we come to your office as a team and present كل واحد putting their documents in different folder like this, what would you think?
What I would like more, for example, is the same template, not the same pictures, of course, not the same content, of course,
At least the
but the same template. For example, I open now, there must be template somewhere, maybe at a global, that I, for example, 10, and I only want to use 3 or 4. Some other affiliate would like to use the 10, but there is a bank of templates that I can pull and use whenever I need to, but not necessarily a must-have for all of the affiliates.
For example, I'll give you an example. When you want to create your presentation pitch, okay? Instead of you sitting there and creating the presentation all over again, you pull up a template that has the basic information about EFE and your country, okay? And then you add to it the requirements for that employer, that donor, etc. So you have one template.
We should, I mean, because we have quite a few templates, right? From the branding template to, I think we put together a basic PowerPoint template people could use, right? It would have to be updated. But we should share that and then find out where else. I mean, I like the idea personally of having a more standardized web presence, and that's something we're going to have to think about in our next web development phase. If we could put together some kind of a standard web template where every website has certain elements and is presented at maybe it's kind of to the second click, I'm thinking that everything is basically uniform, and then there's adaptation depending on the country. That might be something.
But the reason why we have this result is what we have is quite a little dull. It's not creative enough. It's not helping the course. So maybe following the guidelines in terms of colors and logo for now, and maybe finding some strategy to redo Salt's work.
Can I say something? It's not just the colors and the logos. For me, as an outsider, coming into, for example, your website, I go on to EFE Global and I read information. And then I go to EFE Morocco, I go to, I'm reading in French, I go to EFE Jordan, I go to Yemen, okay? I will be able to read the same messages, the same standard messages, okay? And then I will be able to see, at least that's for me, able to see the specifics to that country. That's talking to me as an in-country. So you'll be hitting two things. You'll be hitting the more powerful standard message. You'll be hitting the global employer who's coming to you, seeing this uniformity across, okay? And you'll be hitting also the local.
It's important. I mean, I speak to governors or partners, whatever they call, and it's very clear very quickly in the conversation that they've gone on the affiliate's website and the information could be old or not updated, or they could find it or whatever, and then we're in a conversation. Because what we have on the global website is very basic on the countries, and we rely on the countries that we know in our affiliates. We don't have capacity, not everyone has communications people, so if the websites look bad at the affiliate level, and frankly global needs a lot of work too, it reflects badly on EFE generally, because they expect that. So I think
This applies
across the board.
Is anybody, let's put it the opposite way, is anybody not in favor of moving to a more standardized look and feel on the web presence?
I'm definitely in favor, but no bottlenecks, no approval processes.
So it sounds, am I hearing that in an ideal world, we'd end up with a website where sort of maybe EFE Global had a template website that all affiliate website, all affiliates could adopt as the same basic template for their own websites. Would those websites be updated, are you envisioning by the affiliate?
Well, definitely by the affiliate, because I'll speak for Egypt. We do not have another choice other than update our programs, because this is where people go in, learn the landing pages for our programs, and apply also. So
What I'm imagining is that we could set it up, and you tell me if the technology is not possible for this, where basically the template is all the sections are set. So what you're uploading is different content. Photos and content.
That's a content management system.
And then even if you go to the homepage, you go to EFE.org/Egypt.
What we have to determine is how much of the content, the basic content, is completely standardized. You know, the basic
So yeah, each affiliate will update the board member page, their staff page, their about us page, and the program.
And the programs.
It
No,
sounds-
we have to develop some pages for the programs, not just content. Because each program deserves one page with maybe photos, with some
Right.
guidelines. And
All CRMs, all content management systems do that. You can include photos in
Same as-
your text.
So
But at
am
least
I
the tabs-
understanding correctly that
And the tabs
The
also,
tabs are the same for everybody.
not necessarily. Sometimes you want to add a tab, sometimes you want to remove a tab, but that is also dynamic and customizable.
So am I hearing correctly that basically the ask on physical materials and the ask on the website is the same? Ideally, what we would like is a unified set of templates that would just be rolled out and modified on a local level or populated by your teams
Exactly.
locally.
The only, here's the
Yeah.
one, we probably can't spend a ton more time talking about this. We'll need to have a little bit of a process to think this through a little bit more. But one question that we'll have to to look at, and I think this came up in our first iteration, is many of you want your websites to have, and I think you're set up like this, right? Essentially doorways that people walk through if you're a student, an employer, etc.
Yeah.
And so, which is different than globally. We're not obviously having young people go through as if they're applying to our program, unless we want to format it that way. So it's serving different purposes. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of the landing page and what we templatize, we may need to think about that. That basically maybe there's one template across all the affiliates that are recruiting
More clear if
or the employers that have the same look and feel in terms of access for employers, access for students, etc. But anyway, those are the things that I know.
Companies have a user experience engineer whose job is to give us options on how others solve these issues before.
It could be the same.
On a daily basis, how high of a priority is this for you? How important?
Well, I rely on my website for students, to attract students, 100%. If I don't have a website, I don't have operations.
And what about the Facebook page of EFE Egypt?
Definitely, this is also, we rely on that, but we rely on that as a traffic source to go to the website.
So you don't put the link of SurveyMonkey into the Facebook?
I don't have SurveyMonkey. I have an online a form on my website.
So I think
And in the future, we're going to have a form that pours
Yeah.
into Salesforce.
So you put the website link into your Facebook page, and
Yes.
then you drive people to go there.
Yes.
So I think what lies beneath my question are actually two other questions. And what I'm trying to get at is, how big of a priority should this be for people who are looking to secure resources for this at EFE Global?
Well, I think if this could be squeezed into the systems budget, this is not expensive. It's not huge. I've developed websites for my
No, it's not the actual technique, it's the actual content standardization. It's a project.
It's a whole split screen.
It's a
And I think
project.
that the second related question is,
Yeah.
that I came to EFE at the very end of the branding that happened in SALT. So I wasn't here to watch the whole process. From what I understand, it was an incredibly intensive process. Not just for the people at Global, but it also asked a huge amount of time at the affiliate level for those affiliates who said they wanted to have an opinion in how the ultimate vision took shape. I think it was, do you remember?
The debate over the F, like the shape of the S, or the shape of the
I don't see
There was
any
like a
problem.
month across the network debate.
What I want to know is,
Yeah.
it's going to be,
This is a good
there would be a
question.
trade-off.
All I'm saying is that we're worthwhile investment, because now all of you are saying, let's consolidate.
Yeah.
Standardized work, which is beautiful.
Well, for now, if we come out of this room deciding to all have the same business cards, letterheads, folders,
We do,
no, we
not
don't.
folders.
No.
Business cards, letterheads, it's all the same. We have a template. They gave it to us.
Business cards or something.
Let's start with business cards.
This is acceptable, right?
No.
No?
Yes.
No,
I think so.
No, the white.
This is acceptable, come on. If you go, it's the same company, you go into,
I thought you were asking, somebody saying it's not acceptable.
no, this is acceptable. There's consistency between them.
It's good to have some localization.
Yeah,
In terms of colors and logos.
Like,
That's
if I
fine.
looked at this, I would see you now.
Yeah, that's fine, but genius is here.
Yeah, you're the problem. Let's just admit it.
I'm boring there.
Jamie's trying to save money.
What is this, guys?
This is what you call rich
Yeah,
man food.
That's for the record.
Rich man poor
You know,
man.
Jamie is saying here with the door of the carpenter's broken.
I want to pause, I want to revisit the question
So-
I just asked.
So
What is the
in
usually timeline kind
EFE
of process for
Egypt,
a lot of people?
at EFE Egypt, we have always a wish list. If we can't afford it now, we make sure to include it in future grants.
And that's
proposals.
maybe what we'll have to do, because
Yes.
we may be able to raise some of the money
Exactly.
to do a new, and it's time to do a project like this, but we may need to also think about building in resources for web marketing that then you would pitch in to support some of the local.
Because to give you a sense of perspective on expense, when I first started looking into this a couple months ago, I wanted to know how much we could bill for the first branding process that EFE had done. It was just to do the logos and that basic set of materials, it was over $200,000.
Excuse me, but where did you look?
That was London,
That was not right, but I mean, like, so for
I have
perspective.
designers in Egypt who will do that for a fraction of this number.
Right, so I wanted to
Good job.
keep in mind that there are
Yes, I
two
mean,
things
that's what
involved
we
in
do for
this.
less.
We'll have a bidding.
Yeah, this is great, by the way. 'Cause, what I do is communications, and this is so important to me personally for the organization. You can consider me your champion in this. I just want all of us to be aware of the fact that this is a huge investment for every party involved. And
It's
so
also time,
I want to
it's
ensure
money.
it's important to everyone.
It is very important, obviously.
I'm gonna ask the question in the other way. Would anybody say this is not a priority for them?
It is a priority, for sure.
Yeah, the name issue is problematic. I know there's a legacy issue because of different, actually local cultural nuances. In Morocco, ta'lim and tashrib, and this is a more tarbiyah.
That is fine, still,
Yeah.
it's, as Marielle said earlier, each affiliate will populate their portion of the website
Yeah.
with the content that they have, including those little changes.
I think-
In Egypt, we have to include certain words in the logo, and those words are the name that we use to
There are
register.
legal-
For EFE Morocco, we are making our website now, and we have put your website as a model to stick the maximum of your website, if it's possible for us.
That
So
was
I
like
would-
if you just create their new one using.
I'm going like,
Yeah, I think, look, here's what I would do also, just to manage expectations. I think what we're gonna prioritize in terms of trying to raise funds and dedicate time and resources to this project is really on the web presence. So Ismail, you were raising the question about going through a whole review of the look and feel. I can't promise that. I think we will stay with our current look and feel, see where we want to standardize, sharpen it, but really focus on the web presence, which I think we all agree
yeah.
needs a more uniform presence.
And
So,
having something in Arabic too, in French.
Part of the look and feel.
So when I say feel, I say like this, for example, is a very good example. The way they use the star here is
We
same branding,
use it in
same
our
everything,
fonts.
but that's a clever designer.
Yes.
Gave it
Creativity, yeah.
that creativity. So I don't mean like rebranding. I just mean things like these. What? You don't like that? You can't
it's
see it.
fun. Like, why are we spending money on branded notebooks?
But I would
That's
also
Palestine because they're rich.
Can I know who is
He
in charge?
sits his students on the floor.
But I haven't ever thought of putting together a template notebook.
Jamie, we used to buy this pads for the kids
Yeah.
that we give them out during the training.
Oh, it's part of
And we
our
found out that this is cheaper than buying that pad, so we made this, we branded it.
It's great to know. I mean, we should include that as part of our.
You should
Do you-
move it to tablets instead of paper.
So even if this is
Yeah.
We use it to communicate.
even if this is part of a PowerPoint presentation, the
Yes,
slides.
we have this in.
I'm curious, Ismail. Do you actually have metrics of the visits in your website? Do you use Google Analytics to
Oh yeah.
versus social media to see how many
Yes, of
interactions?
course, all the time. Yeah.
And how the website?
Who is in charge
getting-
to maintain and to update the data?
I do.
It's nice.
No, updating the data. My staff.
Content data.
My staff now are able to update the data. So programs, at least.
One person or several persons?
They all have access.
Should be consolidated in one.
And it's
Yeah, but
risky.
depending on who's managing the program, because sometimes we have
It's risky to deliver the codes for
Yeah.
10 papers.
It's not the code.
The code of CMS to enter the
No, 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 no.
content.
It's everybody has a username and a password. They log in, they fill a form, and that's it. It's as
It's
easy.
they should attend a training before, CMS training.
A 3-minute training. Yes. It's like filling a web form.
Can I
It's
ask
as-
just one more question about web presence? If everyone's web presence is linked so closely, are you comfortable with someone coming onto a page of, you know, Palestine EFE's, like a random page of the EFE's website, and based on the type of content and the quality of language that's used, drawing conclusions about your affiliate, about the rest of the network? Is that something that's going to happen in a more integrated web presence?
It's bound to happen even if it's not integrated. So yes, I'm fine with that.
Okay. And that's not necessarily negative or necessarily positive.
Yeah, it's bound to happen.
So just accelerating a little bit on what we talked about branding. I mean, this was, I think the call to action here is to see whether we're going to have the budget to standardize everything. So I guess there's going to be more meetings regarding that. We will be providing you with our recommendations as well from our review of the marketing material of everything. So we'll consolidate, we'll align with you on our recommendations versus what you can do. But again, brand and identity requirements, just to give you like a very brief checklist, and I'm sure Marielle has a lot of these, looking at individuality, it's important. Even though you're going to standardize, you still need to localize and individualize for each affiliate, your own content, your own flavor if you wish. The long-term goals and ambitions, the consistency across, so these two have to work together, consistency and individuality. There has to be a balance between them. The values that you're showing, the truths, the facts that you're showing.
When you mean individuality, you are referring to the different affiliates or the different segments we are addressing?
Oh, I mean the different affiliates and also the different programs for the different sectors that you are. I mean, but it's mostly the different affiliates, because each affiliate has its local flavor. It's speaking to its own audience, so it has to have something
We're
there.
not referring to have different brandings depending on the segment.
No, that's not different brands. No, definitely not. That's too much, too costly, and too, yeah.